Okay. All right. First of all, this is my first Dharma talk as assistant teacher. So I thought I would talk about that. A few years ago, Roshi asked me to do a Dharma talk. And he specifically mentioned police language. And while I really never did that talk, I gave another talk on brain-based stuff because that's what I get really excited about. That talk on police language is in me. It's not here today, but that talk will come. It hasn't come yet, but it will. So that started doing Dharma talks. And I was really cool with that. I thought of myself as kind of a guest speaker. I was okay with that. Until several months ago when Roshi approached me about being a teacher. And I felt like a deer in the headlights when he asked me on that Zoom call. And I think looking back now, I think I channeled Obi-Wan Kenobi, because my response to him in that moment was, the future will reveal itself. Now I think back, I think of Obi-Wan Kenobi. These aren't the droids you're looking for. The future will reveal itself. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the typical response Roshi gets when he asks somebody about that, but that's what I got. So, but the truth is that proposal of him sent me on a whole soul search. My first instinct was run. Jose, we got to move. We got to change our names. We got to leave Buddhism. We got to run. We got to, we got to get out of Dodge. I'm joking, sort of. So, but for me, I have to recognize, by the way, I have this talk all written down kind of because I have very poor memory due to a number of reasons, but so I have it here to refer back to, but I'm just going to kind of talk and go about it. But when that first run popped up for me, and I never told Roshi this, because I had some serious sitting to do with it. That's habit energy. That's habit energy because of the life I've lived. And, Bernie Glassman talked about, Roshi Bernie Glassman talked about, he deals with what he has. He deals with the ingredients he has. When he wants to make a sandwich, he opens the fridge. Of course, this is all past tense because it's not with us anymore in this physical realm. But he opens the fridge and he looks and sees what he has available. He doesn't think about, oh, gee, I'd really like to have some mustard on my pastrami sandwich. He doesn't have mustard. He doesn't worry about it, right? So, but that habit energy for me, it does pop up because of the life I've had. Because the reality is, my brain is different from a lot of people's brains because of the life I've had, because of the experiences I've had. The sense of knowing that is a sense of liberation, because I have agency. Because when that sense to run away pops up, I know that it's habit energy. I know because of the life I've had, chances are I'm going to react differently in certain situations than other people. You can ask Sensei Kelly about that. One time we were walking in the woods and I heard gunshots. We heard gunshots. Well, I was in a prone position in about 1 second. But again, if you've been shot at, when you hear shots, you're going to have a reaction. That habit energy is probably going to pop up. For me, it was a survival thing for so long. So the reality is that's something that I do deal with, is habit energy. Am I my past? Absolutely not. Am I that energy? Am I the illnesses that have been caused by the life that no, I'm none of that. I'm none of that. That's part of what Roshi asking me to be a teacher has brought me to. So some of the other things I went through was, why me? And then, is he okay?
We're not sure. Jury's out.
And then I heard, you're not good enough. You're no Zen teacher. You're not this quiet, meek little whatever that's gonna sit there and espouse this whatever I thought I was supposed to espouse. But guess what? I embrace all of me. I am not that soft-spoken, meek little anything. I'm typically not. Can I be? Sure. So as I worked through all of this, I recognized my ego was activated. A true Zen person would, in my mind, would hear the proposal of becoming a Zen teacher and either accept it or decline it and go on about their day. Not so with this one. So I sat and I did some of the other things that I have learned in Zen and through Zen. And I ended up doing Zen dialogue on myself. Like that voice of, you're not good enough, or you're not a Zen teacher. Where is that coming from? So I ended up regressing myself back. Where's the first time I heard that? And I ended up identifying that voice as my older siblings. Always tell me I can't do things, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I'm really happy to drop that stinking thinking. Because it's not serving me. It's not true. It's not appropriate. It came from somebody else and whatever baggage they had, that for some reason I was, impressionable and believed it to some degree. So then I had to process my relationship with Roshi and Roshi himself, because this is a passing on. This is a passing down. This is intimate. So what did I come up with for Roshi? He's genuine, non-judgmental, kind, funny, wise, accepting. So if I respected him so much, why am I questioning his judgment when he is literally the expert of who he wants to be teachers and to have Dharma transmission from him? So clear that. That was gone. Okay. Then on to, why me? What do I have to give as a Zen teacher? So I had to think about, and I wonder if you guys do this too, because I found it was really good practice for me. What am I without all this stuff? What am I without the mother label, without the wife label, without the, the therapist, the caretaker, police officer, the fighter identity that I have identified with so much of my life? What am I without all that? What am I without all that? What am I? What am I? What am I? So what I came down to was, I'm energy. I am energy. And I'm no scientist. I know we have a lot of scientists in this group. But I am potential energy and I am habit energy. And I'm so grateful to have the awareness that I do have potential energy, that I am potential energy, and I'm also habit energy. Because I'm not forgetting what this meat sack has been through. And the reality is, when you go through life, the body that contains your energy is going to have things happen to it. For me, I've got my own challenges. I've got a PTSD brain. My amygdala is probably larger than most people's. So that sense of fight, flight is strong in me, but I recognize it. So while acknowledging that my body has been through these things and I have, to deal with the repercussions of those, I am also present for what this moment has to offer. And I'm also aware of the delusions that the past and also these habit energies can create. And that awareness is so much for me. For example, when Roshi asked me in my first thought was, run, we got to get out of here, change our names. That was just habit energy. That was just my brain, saying, oh, didn't have that on my bingo card, not sure how I'm going to deal with that. So the practice of Zen, the practice of sitting, my favorite word these days is just sit, just whatever I'm doing. And that is so powerful. Little example of that is, I'm off script here, but there is no script. So like making my bed, right? I have this, it's a king size bed and it's tall and I gotta climb to get up on it. And so I have this duvet cover, and if any of you have duvet cover, you know what I'm talking about before I say it. So trying to get the duvet in the duvet cover, where it's the right way, because once you put it in the wrong way, then gotta do it all again. So I hate putting the duvet cover on, but I had to do it. And when I realized, okay, you're okay, you're going to put the duvet cover on, it's got to be done. So why are you suffering about it, right? So bring back my mindfulness. Okay, Wendy, just put the duvet in the duvet cover. Just do that. Just feel the fabric. Smell the fresh laundry detergent. Just do this. And I'll be damned, that bed has never looked so good. After I finished, I looked, I said, wow, no one's ever made that bed so well. So it's these little things that I do in my everyday life that I put Zen to work for me. And for me, Zen has been the solution. What was the problem? I don't know, everything, nothing, but Zen was definitely the solution. So on my rakusu, you probably can't read it, but Roshi wrote on there, turning anger into wisdom and weakness into strength. And when I read what Roshi wrote, it occurred to me that, Roshi and I've been meditating for about 20 years because so much of my life was, chaos and very painful, and innately I knew I needed quiet, I needed peace, I needed nothing but just silence and no thought. And that evolved into me stumbling and, always being curious of the Zendo, and ended up me eventually going to the Zendo probably 10 years into my meditation practice. And I realized that Roshi's been with me through a lot of these, present with me through silly amounts of suffering. And as I transform from that life and can continue to do so on a moment to moment basis, transform from that life of suffering. There's always going to be pain, but I don't have to suffer over the pain. And as I felt like he went through so much of that with me, I think knowing that I had so much that I was carrying and so much that really needed to be dropped, I think for Roshi and some of the people around me, the difference was noticeable. I think of my life before I really put Zen to work for me. And it's kind of gross, but go with me. I think of myself like stuck to flypaper, all these attachments, just really completely stuck. So, but every time, every little time, I learned to let that attachment go. It's like, I've got a hand free now. At whatever cost, that hand is not getting stuck again. Because once you break it free, baby, run. So as I break free from this fly tape, the sense of freedom, not only the sense of freedom, but once you can see that attachment and you can see what it's done to you, that's awareness. And that's, for me, by the way, everything I say is for me. And, I'm not trying to say this is anyone else's experience, because I don't know what anyone else's experiences are. So I speak for myself. And so I continue every day to get a little more unstuck from that flypaper and appreciate that sense of freedom. And while I know that, sure, I have attachments, much less than I used to, like the whole fighter attachment, all those other things that I used to think were me, but not me. They're not me. I know that. I think of life as, I think of the whys in the road, and those whys in the road where things get really sticky, where things get painful, where you might not know what to do, you might not know how to handle it, it might feel horrible, it might be uncomfortable and terrible, and whatever it is, that why in the road, that's the sweet spot. That uncomfortable, terrible, whatever it is, that's the sweet spot. That's the point where you can have the agency. Speaking for myself, you can have the agency to go one way or the other. Zen has taught me to sit in that sweet spot. To not run away from it, not try to make it something it's not. To just try to look at it for what it really is, without all these labels of human, woman, mother, whatever, fighter, police officer, therapist, without all those labels. Just try to be authentically with whatever it is right now. And those whys in the road, man, that's the sweet spot. That's when you figure out what you're made of. For me. In my past profession of law enforcement, and in my current profession of being a therapist, the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. And I know that. And what do I do with that? Yeah, I know that if there's a building on fire or something like that, or if somebody needs help, historically, I have jumped into action, and I probably will again. But I like to go into every moment with curiosity, not trying to carry all the baggage, knowing it's there, but trying to give every moment, trying to honor every moment, because every moment is new, you know. So this brings me back to when Roshi first asked me. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not all these things. Well, you know what? I know I'm not all these things, but I also know what I'm capable of. I know what I have done, and I know that those can be predictors of future behavior. But, you know, for the majority of my life, I was so shameful of the trauma I had experienced. And I tried to hide it. And for so much of my life, and a lot of you don't know my story, don't know how much trauma I'm coming from, but so much of my life, my mantra was just keep swinging. Get up, fight back, get up, fight back, get up, fight back. So, what do I have to give as a teacher? I have come through, and I say through intentionally, because I understand trauma. I understand it intellectually from the books as a therapist, but I also understand it like one understands an orange, by experiencing it, by tasting it. So all of this has gotten me to the perspective that I have today, which is filled with compassion. And I think so much of that compassion comes from just having experienced so many things that really tested me. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to write a bad check to feed my family. So when I'm a police officer, and by the way, that was before I was a police officer. That I had to write that bad check to feed my family. But the wisdom from that, always looking for the wisdom, always looking for the lesson. The wisdom from knowing hunger and from writing a check that I didn't have the money to cover the food I needed. To my police life, when I'm being told to arrest a woman because she has a pot roast that she's trying to make out of the store, hiding it in between her legs. I get that. I get that. I get that she's trying to feed her family. So I bought her pot roast. And I had a conversation with the store manager. And I said, you know, if she was stealing, I don't know, something that wasn't food or something, you know, that was alcohol or something like that, yeah, maybe. But this is a grandmother, because I talked to her. This is a grandmother who's raising her grandkids, and she's trying to feed them. So completely off script. There is no script. But, but the thing is, it's those things in my life, those hard things that have come through, that have given me wisdom, have given me perspective, have given me so much freaking compassion. So what do I have to give as a teacher? I can speak my truth now. I can embrace, all the stuff I've gone through that has brought me here today. All the suffering that I have gone through that has brought me here today. All of the attachments and the sufferings that I have reflected on and gained wisdom from. I can tell you I'm a much better listener than I am a speaker. So there's that. I can also share what's worked for me. I don't think I'm one of these people that loves to, I do koans because they help me and I understand. I fought koans for a long time. And then once I stopped fighting them, they got a lot easier for me because I was trying to intellectualize them, which was, the whole, my history. You've got to do well, you've got to succeed, you can't fail, blah, blah, blah. This narrative going on throughout my life. Drop that. So I can share what has worked for me. But most of all, what I have to offer is I embrace my authentic self with all of this energy, which I once told Roshi, I said, I got a lot of energy here. I got to try to keep the train going the right direction. So now I can fully embrace whatever life throws my way and sit with it and be aware of habit energy, maybe habit thoughts, baggage, everything else, and consciously put that aside to be present in whatever's happening at the moment. Which, in all honesty, is sometimes painful. That's how life is. So don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely not saying I don't have pain, because I do, like everyone else. I have a dog that has cancer right now. When she passes, that is going to hit me hard. That loss of connection is going to hit me hard. I know that. But I'm not worried about that because I am so busy enjoying her now and everything about her now. So when that time comes, I'll deal with it too. And I will be fully in it, and I will be ugly crying and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So in conclusion, to wrap all of this up, I once thought of my life as the storm, this busy, horrible storm. And I often thought of Roshi standing beside me in the storm. Now I realize there was no storm. Thank you.